Well, the United States Supreme Court struck a decisive blow to the fairness in the judicial system last week when it came out with a decision involving a New Orleans man, John Thompson. Thompson had been convicted of murder back in the 80s, had served 14 years on death row, another 4 years in jail, a total of 18 years in jail. He was found not only innocent by a jury, but there was also ample evidence there had been a great deal of prosecutor misconduct, to where evidence that showed the man was innocent was withheld from him, both at his trial and through the entire process. He was misidentified. His blood type was supposed to be the type of the person that committed the crime, and yet he had a completely different blood type. The prosecutors knew about it. They withheld the evidence. There was this gotcha mentality. This was against the prosecutors in New Orleans. So he's finally found not guilty, tried for the third time, I believe, and in 35 minutes the jury says this is ridiculous. The man is innocent. There's evidence that shows he's innocent. I think there were 10 different pieces of evidence in his final trial that were withheld by the prosecutors the first time around, but they kept after him. He's found innocent, so he sues the prosecutors and gets a $14 million judgment. Now, some people would say, well, you know, $14 million is a lot of money to give someone, even though he was convicted of a crime he didn't commit. Well, here's the example I give you. How would you like to be charged with murder? Your kids are taken away from you. They think you're a murderer. You spend 14 years on death row, 18 years of your life in prison. Then you come out broke with no future and nothing to show for it, not getting one penny of compensance. Would you take $14 million for that? How about that? Would you take $14 million and give up 18 years of your life? I think very, very few, unless you're mentally unstable, would say absolutely not. Of course I wouldn't take it. It wouldn't take any amount of money to give up the key years of my life involving the case of John Thompson particularly. So Thompson sues, gets a judgment in New Orleans. A jury overwhelmingly says yes, he's entitled to $14 million. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, it's really a prosecutor's court of appeals. They kind of go in lockstep with the prosecutors. They upheld the judgment, said, no, the guy's entitled to $14 million. So it goes to the U.S. Supreme Court, and last week the court in a 5-4 decision says, no, the prosecutor, that's just part of the system. Prosecutors make mistakes, and we're not going to allow the $14 million award. Just a decision that is getting no support anywhere in the country. It's been editorialized against by the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, papers all over the country. The court said that there was no deliberate indifference. It was just an isolated incident. Well, of course, if you go back into the prosecutors in New Orleans, both the federal system and the state system, you see widespread evidence where evidence is withheld from defendants. So the decision was wrong. Kudos to Justice Ginsburg. You know, justices never really ever read their dissents from the court. They file a dissent. Ginsburg read a lengthy dissent. She was so outraged by the decision, and in a 5-4 decision, she wasn't able to get her way. Anyway, the Supreme Court overturned the award. Thompson gets nothing, so doesn't get one penny. Louisiana's not offered him anything. He does not get one penny for giving up 18 years of time in jail for a crime he didn't commit. Just a terrible blight in the justice system. I thought prosecutors were to determine what was right and what was wrong, try to determine fairness, not just gotcha. But in the case of New Orleans, it was a gotcha mentality. Let me tell you how bad it was. 5 different prosecutors in the office down there knew the guy was innocent. One fella gets cancer, and on his deathbed, he confesses to another prosecutor, look, I saw the blood test, and the blood doesn't match. The guy didn't do the crime. He just felt so guilty about it. Then he dies. The guy he confesses to waits 5 years before he goes ahead and makes the information available. All the time, Thompson's on death row. He's on death row all this time. And so finally, Thompson gets out of jail after all this time. And what's he got to show for his 18 years? Zip, not one penny of common sense from the system. Just an outrageous system showing widespread prosecutorial misconduct. And let me tell you what, the prosecutors in that case not only should be disbarred, they should be the ones in jail. If you purposely withheld information showing man is innocent, you should be in jail. Go to jail. Don't let these prosecutors off. What's with the thing with prosecutors hiding the information? Let the jury have the information. Lay it all out, the good and the bad and the ugly. Put it all out there. But prosecutors want to withhold all this information, you see. We want to get you. gotcha mentality. We don't give a damn about right or wrong, fairness. We don't care about the truth. We don't care about equal justice. We don't care about injustice in the system. We just want to get you. That's the mentality we find. The John Thompson case is the prime example of prosecutors run amok and how this man was not treated fairly. He's out now, doesn't get a penny for what's happened to him. He's uneducated. His kids have all grown up, got nothing to show for his time, and the state says, the state of Louisiana and the federal system says, we just don't give a damn. I'm sorry, John Thompson. You deserve a lot better than what you got. We'll be right back.